Go ahead, sir.
Councilor Lindner, can you hear me okay? Yes? Okay. All right, Steve, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring our city council meeting for Monday, November 25th, 2024 to order. And let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. So Counselor Myers, I don't know where he is. I can't remember if he's out this week or not.
He mentioned something last time, Mr. Mayor, that
Yeah.
he might be out or be late to this
Okay.
meeting.
All right, so we'll wait to see if we hear from him or see him. So, okay. I know Counselor Lindner, we're doing roll call, so go ahead.
Here.
Okay. Counselor Rich.
Here.
Counselor Cuthbertson.
Here.
Counselor Williams.
Here.
Counselor Winther is running late. He is en route, so we will see him shortly. So, okay. 1 second here. All right, can I get a volunteer to read 2.1 this evening? Okay, thank you.
The public comment period is designed to gain input from the public. Public comment is not intended to be a dialogue between the council, staff, and any person making a comment. Any person who raises a question during public comment should rest assured that the city staff is making a note of your question, and the council and staff will work together to identify the appropriate city official to follow up with you directly.
Great, thank you, Counselor. So, do we have any public comments this evening? No. Okay, we're gonna aim once. Twice. Troy, no comment? No? Okay, all right, 3 times, we're sold. We're out. All right, no public comments this evening. We have the sheriff on Zoom right now, so we'll go ahead and have you give us your report, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Looks like a little bit lighter crew this evening. You have the reports there in front of you if you have any questions about that. The 14th is, of course, your amazing Monroe Light Show. We have a full assortment of folks that will be participating in that from the office. I noticed on the agenda that maybe the 16th was going to be the next session. I just need to know one way or the other to make sure that I can get down there in person at the next one. I'm hoping to be in uniform. And then just for your own consumption, Chief Waddell from Junction City is going to be in the office tomorrow. He's going to participate in my management team meeting with my managers, and I'm excited to get him in there. This is courtesy of Captain Duffett. He's been doing a lot of work to try and mend some fences, and we're going to try and just get off on the right foot with the chief there and JC and let him know what we do and what we have available to him as far as training and other resources. I think I'm optimistic. I'll just say that I'm optimistic.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, we got, like the sheriff said, we got the report in front of us. Any questions? Well, we've got them here. With regard to the report or anything else for that matter.
I guess I have a question about the JC representation. So this is just to provide like trade training kind of thing. It's not like we're planning on incorporating their service into Monroe, correct?
That is correct. I just want to make sure that Chief Waddell knows what kind of training we do. In the event that we have to cross-pollinate, I want to make sure that he knows what we do and our expectations. And if he needs to get his folks trained up, I'm a resource available to him in the neighboring community. That's pure and simple. That's the only reason.
Thank you.
Great. Good. Any other questions, comments, observations?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Everything you do.
Well, I don't do much, but the office sure does an awful lot, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of every last one of
The
those.
team you run.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I super appreciate them. Well, if you don't have anything else for me, have an amazing Thanksgiving, and we'll
You
see
do the
in a
same,
couple
sir.
weeks.
Thank you.
Great.
Sarah.
Fantastic. Yep. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Good. Well, we're going to go ahead and move on to the city administrator's report.
Okay, well, I won't repeat any other items on the agenda. I'll just say that I've been working very hard with the new staff, bringing them up to speed on office process and procedures. Misty is now, she'll be doing these minutes. She's already done the planning commission minutes.
Great.
She's going to be doing this set of minutes and submitting them to me. She's also now has access to the website for updates and that type of thing. This is also freeing Dawn up now to do more analytical work on things. A matter of fact, I had her working with her to create what's called a dashboard, if you're familiar in Excel with that. And basically creating pie charts of our main funds and expenses.
Mhm.
And noticed that we were not getting any, when she had completed that, she noticed that we had not been receiving our monthly checks from Republic Services franchise fees.
Oh, interesting.
And it was because they're sending it to the post office box.
Oh,
And it's like, okay, well, we have several, we're gonna have a nice check, but
Right.
that was one of the things that I
Yeah.
want is to make sure that we have that level of detail and oversight on these things. And with Misty taking over some of those functions, routine clerk functions, this has paid off with finding some things that we would not have found otherwise.
all right.
Chuck is doing great as well. He's picking things up. I'm going to be working with him next,
Mhm.
not this week, but the following week in the water plant, and then get Chuck Schultz over here to add him to the operators list. So he can start the plant
Okay.
on his own in the morning and not have to tag along with Mark. I think he's at a point now where he
Okay.
can be let out to do other things. Today we had the volunteer from Portland down here and worked with Chuck, and they cleaned leaves off blew all the leaves on the library and other work. So it's been a good few weeks, but it's been very busy moving things around so that my plate can be moved, Don's plate can be moved, and these new folks can start assuming the things that we want them to, and they're
Mhm.
picking up very, very quickly, which is
Very good.
which is great. That is good for the city. Otherwise, a lot of the things that we have this evening that I have are on your agenda. So we can touch on all those when they
Stay
come up.
tuned, huh?
Yes, stay tuned.
Okay. Any questions for Steve?
I just wanted to say a big thank you to the volunteer from Portland and Chuck.
He certainly does enjoy himself down here.
Well, that's good.
And
We
he's
appreciate it.
learning. This week, we're finishing the drywall in the back, and and I also learned that Don knows how to mud.
Oh, well.
So she is going to provide the tutorial for the boys on how it's done. I'm
That's
very-
great.
I'm gonna be tickled.
That's good. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and move on if everybody's okay with that. All right, so we're on to the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. If any item involves a potential conflict of interest, council members should so note before adoption of the consent agenda. A motion to accept the consent agenda is appropriate.
I will add before you analyze everything, you have two accounts payables that were just received today. One is from Pitney Bowes, that's our postage metering service for $498.95. And the second is a company called WECO, which is Carson Oil.
Okay.
And this was filling the lift station generator, emergency generator,
Okay.
which we empty part of it out, that they recycle it basically, and then
Oh,
pump
okay.
new stuff in so that we have fresh
Okay.
fuel for
Mhm.
the winter months. And that's
Yes.
for $87.64. So
Okay,
these are additions to the accounts payable that you see in your packet.
okay, very good.
And it looks like there's some SDC prepayments and stuff.
Yes, we have SDC prepayments from Mr. Brian Shemzen Nanu.
Mhm.
Okay, there we go, for his parents off of Orchard Street, that's in the back area, and also
Mhm.
from Mr. Brian Ray.
Okay. Mhm.
Move forward on
Yes, we are.
building some stuff.
Okay, very good.
Interesting.
And
Mhm.
I have a lot more of that in updates. It really is moving forward.
Okay. Mhm.
And what was the Ferguson one?
Let's see,
500 and, oh, sorry, Ferguson, 582.72.
582.72 Ferguson is for water meters.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
two water meters and then item for the water plant.
Okay.
excuse me.
We actually have more water meters on order right now, a large order. This is for the budgeted meter replacement.
Mhm.
But we needed two right away for the two SDCs that got paid.
Okay, makes sense.
I'm make a motion that we pass the consent agenda, the pay the bills, pass the minutes.
Okay.
Financials approved.
Okay. I got a first.
I'll second.
Okay. Any comments or questions before we vote?
None from me.
Okay. Okay, doesn't sound like it, so. All right, Counselor Lindner,
Yes.
Counselor Rich,
Yes.
Counselor Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, shall we move on to new business? We have resolution 2024-19, a resolution creating a reserve fund for water intake maintenance.
This is from the Long Tom Watershed Council, the MOU. They agreed to provide us $50,000 in, I think, 3 installments. As this moved along, they are ready to give us our first $15,000 of that.
Okay,
Because this is a dedicated dollar amount that needs to go to water intake maintenance. it should go into a reserve fund. So what you're doing this evening is authorizing the creation of a reserve fund
Mm.
for the specific purpose of water intake maintenance, so that the money that we receive goes directly into that. bucket.
And this is funds for maintenance on it, not the funds to move or change the
Correct. It's
intake. That was a
maintenance.
separate thing.
That's separate.
Okay.
And so the Longtime Watershed Council is directly paying for the water intake and directly paying the Corps of Engineers the money, which is happening as we,
But part of the agreement, they got us
Right.
some funds to maintain it because
it's gonna,
it'll be in a spot probably further out in the, that costs.
and
some
it
additional-
buried a little bit, and you see the amount of mud and stuff that comes down. It will need to be cleaned out, backed out, cleaned out. So this is to help.
Okay.
Okay.
It is a long-term thing, and no one exactly knows how much maintenance it's going to need.
Well, and that's what
But
we'll have
50,000 does indeed.
Well,
That's-
yeah,
That's the total amount, 50,000 altogether.
So
Okay.
when this intake is in place, we should have a reserve fund that has 50,000
Okay.
and collecting interest on it.
and we'll probably have to implement a fee to feed that reserve fund
I
as we
would-
start to use it, because
Yes, and as you pointed
once
out.
we figure
Counselor,
out how much it costs to do it,
Exactly.
then we gotta
Exactly.
maintain it, otherwise.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
that's an important one to maintain. Yep.
I'll make a motion to pass, I guess, resolution number 2024-19. A resolution authorizing and establishing, et cetera.
Well, go ahead. I'll second it.
Okay.
Sorry.
great.
I didn't realize
That's
you were
all right.
reading out the title.
Yeah, I said et cetera. I didn't want to read the whole thing.
Oh, nope, you're fine. You got it. Okay. Any other comments, questions on this before we vote? Okay,
Done to me.
okay. Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Counselor Rich,
Yes.
Counselor Lindner.
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, let's see here. Resolution 2024-20, a resolution accepting funds. You'll have to explain that one for us a little bit. We're accepting funds. I mean, that's fine, but what funds for?
So what we're doing is so we have to go back to 2020 and the summer of 2020. That was such a great summer.
Sure.
No, it wasn't. The restrooms were not finished, and they
Right.
had to be finished by October 1st. Otherwise, we would lose our grant money.
Right, I remember.
So
those, yes.
then Council President Billings told the Public Works individuals at the time to go forth and get it finished now. So they did, and they bought a whole bunch of stuff, primarily for the sewer parts and pieces,
Mhm.
that much of which had to be returned because one of the other folks that came in and said, hey, just stop, I can take care of this for you. So they supplied some of the materials, and a lot of these materials got returned.
Okay,
Okay, fast forward, we have a credit. We
okay.
have about $1,051.32. The problem is that our funds have changed. We have more funds now than we did back then. We have separated
Right.
buckets. So the original bucket this was taken out of no longer exists.
Ah, I see.
So it was intended for the park. And so what you're doing at this point is accepting the money into the current sewer fund, because it came from the old sewer fund. We're placing it under miscellaneous income. And then we're transferring it because the original intent of that money was for park restroom.
Was for that
maintenance.
building, yeah.
Right. We're transferring it now to a line that we do have called park restroom maintenance.
Okay,
So in order to make this work, and so when auditors and anyone else in the future wonders what the heck we did, we have a resolution for it authorizing the transfer, and that's the explanation as to what we're
okay,
doing.
gotcha.
That makes sense. Thank you for explaining it.
You're welcome. It took us a while in the office to
So
figure it out.
we already had the funds
Mm.
in,
No, we did not.
Oh, there was a credit on the account and you told them to refund it because we hadn't
Exactly.
needed it. Okay.
Exactly. So it was better for us at this point. We do use Consolidated. This is where it came from. We do use Consolidated, but we mostly use Ferguson because they have more of
Mhm.
our water meter and that type of thing.
Okay.
At the time, Consolidated has a lot of things that deal with lavatories and restrooms
Mhm.
and, fixtures of that kind.
Okay.
So it was better, I think, at this point for us to have the money, put it back into our accounts so it can earn interest and sit in someone else's account.
Right.
I'll make a resolution I'll make a motion to pass resolution 2024-20.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other comments, questions before we vote on this one?
None for me.
Okay. All right. We'll start the voting then. Counselor Lindner,
Yes.
Counselor Rich,
Yes.
Counselor Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we are on to resolution 2024-21. And this is a resolution approving an IGA with the Oregon Department of Revenue for managing city transient tax.
So I think probably the most pertinent thing here is that they charge $10 per property that's being managed. That's their fee.
Okay.
And they remit to us the remainder that is collected.
Okay.
And so they'll be doing this on our behalf. Of course, that $10 is subject to change. In the IGA, they go into great depth telling us how they're going to calculate that from time to time.
Also,
Um,
if the tax is less than the $10 and then we would pay them.
Yes,
Okay.
if it were less than that,
Mhm.
yes. So we would owe them $10, and if we don't collect anything, then we owe them $10.
If they had to do the processing of the stuff, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
But what they'll be doing is filing all the fee, they'll be filing everything on our behalf. Basically, we just collect the money, or if we have to pay a $10 because we have one account that hasn't had any rentals, then we pay $10. But
Okay.
it is they do a great deal of work on our behalf.
Okay. All right. Any comments or questions?
Nope.
Okay, are we ready to vote on this one?
Make a motion, we pass resolution 2024-21, authorizing IGA with Oregon Department of Revenue for transient lodging tax.
I'll second.
Great, thank you.
I shortened it and it was still a mouthful.
Right.
This comes from a sample resolution, the title from the League of Oregon Cities.
Okay, gotcha.
They
Okay,
tend to be more verbose.
of course. Okay, comments, questions? Seems pretty straightforward to me, so.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's an easy contract.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay,
Because you don't get a say on, you either accept it or don't.
basically.
They are the Department of Revenue.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's that. Mhm. Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Counselor Rich.
Yes.
Counselor Lindner.
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right. One more time, resolution 2024-22, a resolution amending the master fee schedule for a short-term rental permit fee.
$100. I mean, that's
That's.
That's the.
Okay.
And that's annually, right? Yeah.
And that's
Okay.
annually. And that's kind of in between other folks. Some cities are charging more than that. Some cities aren't really charging much less than that. It runs from about $90 to over $170.
Okay.
So
Well, and it still would be less than before we did all this, that would be, at least $400 to go to the
exactly.
Planning
Yes.
commission
$440 to go to the
application
planning
plus
commission. Right.
additional, yeah.
And there are things in here that we are, we do have to kind of manage it. It's not completely hands off. It also might help defray. I don't At the moment, we do leave it up to the renters, the folks that want to have it, short-term rentals, to ensure their inspections are done. I can accept anyone that is like an American home inspector, AHI certified individual. Benton County can do that.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's home inspectors that will come in for other purposes, but have to certify occupancy, and that's really what we're after. It's not, we're not looking at the building in terms of any other things. We're looking at occupancy in terms of, is this room safe to live in
Okay.
per the code?
Okay.
And it would be using the 2022 IHC code that the state of Oregon's adopted for what they call their structural specialty code.
Okay. Any comments or questions there?
None from me. Makes sense.
Okay, entertaining a motion on this one.
Sorry, what was that, Counselor Linder?
Oh, I just said it's pretty straightforward.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. No question.
Or you were breaking up, sorry, that's all.
Oh, it's because there are two dogs wrestling behind me.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, well,
That will
that
do it.
happens.
I'll make a motion, we pass resolution 2024-22. Resolution amending the city master fee schedule.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments? You ready to vote? Boy, you guys are easy tonight. Okay, Counselor Lindner,
Yes.
Counselor Rich,
Yes.
Counselor Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Mostly straightforward stuff. especially the-
Yes, indeed.
Yes, those are fortunately easy to understand and
Next item on the agenda, council direction related to business licenses. We talked about this briefly in the work session. if I
it was
remember
also brought up in the Economic Development Committee and over time. So what I have, so this is the second separate document here, and it says at the top, Monroe, no business license required. I did an analysis of basically all of the Mid-Valley towns in our Lynn, Benton, Lincoln, including Newport, which is on the very back page. And what I wanted to do was basically, research and find out who is actually requiring business licenses
Mhm.
and who doesn't, and what other permits and licenses do folks have. So starting with the city of Monroe, we do not require a business license, but you can see the highlighted areas here do have, for instance, if we approve concessionaires at the park to sell things, we ask for some money and a permit.
Mhm.
Also with concessions, we ask for a permit essentially. Peddlers or solicitors, which is kind of a common one for a lot of cities, need to have a license to do that. We also have what we call amusements. Corvallis calls it social gaming.
Okay.
And it's interesting, these are the only two cities I found that have something similar like this. But essentially, we basically charge a fee for having an amusement device, a card room, cigarette vending machines, jukeboxes, and person, firm, corporation, association that has any of these things in them, pool rooms and vending machines. I have the list there. So
Right.
it's an interesting, reading this, it's a little archaic, I guess.
Well, and I don't think
But-
any of those have been enforced for a long time either, right?
I don't know how many of these things we
I know at
really
Benny's, they
have.
got like jukeboxes
Right.
and they got,
Right.
yeah.
So
Does Long Branch or they have a jukebox?
the
But
jukebox-
in the back is just the
Lottery.
gambling
Lottery,
machines,
yeah.
yeah.
And I know that the Brady Croson's place will also have amusements of sorts as well in there. So those are things that we currently in our ordinances have. Harrisburg, which is on the second page as we go down, Harrisburg does require business licenses and for commercial, industrial business licenses, rental licenses, and temporary licenses. They are of all of our cities, they're the ones that actually require licenses, permits, and charge a fee for all of them. Lebanon does not require all businesses, but if it is dealing with marijuana shops, drug paraphernalia shops, or dispensaries, yes, you do have to have a license. I'll mention that the state of, in order to receive marijuana tax revenues, you cannot have any ordinance banning them in your town. We have no such ordinance. So we do collect the tax, but we don't have anything whatsoever to stop a marijuana dispensary unless it's 1,000 feet from either one of our schools.
Which that's a state requirement, not a,
Yeah, that's a state requirement, right?
do we have locations here that are more than 1,000 or
They
more than
would-
1,000 feet from
They would
either of
have
the
to be
schools?
west,
Yeah.
they would have to be west Red Hills.
But that would be residential.
Some of Red Hills, not all of Red Hills, some of it, but it would be residential areas, probably north of 8th Street, or excuse me, west of 8th Street.
Yeah, well, I mean, and then that's all residential areas. I don't even
All
think there's like
residential.
a commercial,
That at all.
Right.
I think that's why we never moved on anything like that in the past.
there's not
is
a commercial
because
zone
the
that
way
meets
it
the
was Set
requirement.
up,
Yeah.
we didn't need
No.
to be concerned at that time about it.
And it doesn't appear because of our geography that we really would. So our areas even here, now I don't know, that's a good question. I don't think so. I think if we make commercial street commercial, most of the houses that are just to the east of City Hall are not,
I
are
think they're
still
still
in the
too close
1,000
to,
foot.
yeah, to
still
middle
within
school.
1,000 foot of the middle
Okay,
school.
yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So
Henry.
that's Lebanon, but I thought it was interesting. Some of these things are very, what people want to permit for or not. Brownsville does have a business registration of $15. Halsey requires business registration, but charges $0 for it. And then you can see the Adair Village through Millersburg on the last page. Adair Village, Albany, Corvallis, Junction City, Philomath, Scioto, Sweet Home, Tangent, and Millersburg do not have business licenses. A few of them do have permits for required for peddlers or solicitors. Corvallis is pawnbrokers and social gaming, which are like secondhand sellers. And Sweet Home has peddlers or solicitors. On the back page, very back page, is Newport. They do require a business, and you can see that actually I like their paragraph, the wording. They're the only town that actually explained why you have business licenses to any that might make sense to anybody. And then they also have what they call certain business operations require an endorsement on that for short-term rentals, taxi cabs, medical marijuana facilities, recreational marijuana facilities. So you basically get a business license, and then you have endorsements for certain other activities as well. So they combine the two. So business licenses, you know, the reasons why you don't is because in a small town, one, you want to encourage businesses. You don't want to not have businesses. The second part of it is that you don't want a small business to be tied up in bureaucracy. There's another good reason. You don't want, you know, a small city hall to have to sit on your business license forever. It may, depending on what your fee is, you know, there could be an equity issue between those people that want to start a business, low income, but can't afford whatever you charge. On the other side, there are things that I am right now, one of the things that we have discovered we have to do with our discharge permit is annually I have to survey business owners. And I have to survey them, and I have to ask all sorts of questions about what's your business? What are you discharging? And even if you don't necessarily meet the criteria, it has to be listed and forwarded to the DEQ so they can determine whether or not your city requires pre-treatment of the waste. Right now, we only have 5 businesses
This is on the commercial accounts.
This is everybody. Yeah, I asked the same question. This includes people working out of their homes. Now, if you have a home business, I can exclude you but I have to list the reason why. I have to come forward and say that. One of the problems we have in this, and then based upon all that, so I have to have a list of exclusions. Like if you have a home-based business, like say for yourself that does tax accounting, most of what you do is what's called domestic waste. That's not counted in this.
Mhm.
It's folks like the only one in town, two in town that I would say just would be a squinty eye would be the long timber because
Because of the beer making.
because the beer that they put a
Right.
lot of what's called biological BOD into our system. Okay. But the others, and we have three others that have grease and oils, and we need to make sure that they have grease and oil traps and
Right.
that type of thing. And then broadly, which also might have some things from time to time that aren't exactly domestic. It's wine or some other refuse from
Right.
them. And then a food truck that goes into a grease trap.
Mhm.
So those would be the five, and this includes Benny's. So those would be kind of the five that I would list. The other 20 some would be basically, yeah, they're here, but they don't do anything. They don't have any waste. Okay, so back to business licenses. One of the problems is rather than bother everybody each and every year, if I had a business license, just a registration, and ask those questions. What are you doing with your business?
Mhm.
Are you discharging things that are harmful? And a lot of the business licenses like Halsey and Brownsville ask those questions. Are you storing things that are hazardous? In other words, things the city might get in trouble with the DEQ or EPA because we're supposed to monitor those kind of activities. So a business registration can be very helpful. It can also tie into the other part of this, which is right now, a lot of business, if you want to start, you have to go to the planning commission. And the planning commission and myself would prefer that doesn't happen. And it shouldn't happen for the majority of businesses. Why? If you are complying with, if you want to start a business, why do you have to come to the planning commission and ask? Okay. So there is an answer for that. The why is you want to make sure that it's appropriate for the zoning and that type of thing.
Right.
But that can be done, what we call a type 1 decision, and that could be done off a business registration form. Doesn't have to go to planning commission, because right now, because we've never really had a lot of business, a lot of new things come into town, it was like, well, we'll deal with it when it happens. Well, it's beginning to happen. So this allows businesses to come into town, fill out their questionnaire, so to speak, their survey, register with the city, and now we have information on what they're doing. Is it appropriate? Do they need to go see the planning commission? In other words, it's an opportunity for businesses to have a one-stop without having to find out after they've started their business that they're in violation of something. And that solves a lot of issues for council, solves a lot of issues for the planning commission, and certainly allows city staff to manage things a little bit better rather than reacting to it. So based upon, other than the peddlers and solicitors, where you kind of do want to know who's coming into your town, we have only had one person that I'm aware of in the time I've been here who has actually come to City Hall and done that. But otherwise, a business registration, which is nothing more than coming and filling out a form, whether we charge them anything or not, I think is something that can happen maybe down the road when the town grows and has lots more businesses. But at the moment, for the two reasons that I mentioned, I think it's a great idea. But I'm not sure that you necessarily have to charge anything for it. And if you do it, which should be very little, I think like what Halsey does, $15. But that's just simply for processing. But regardless, having, and you can see a lot of examples in here as well. Some things exempt home-based businesses altogether from doing it. But overall, there is more benefit to it for us to know who is in town doing what. Are they doing something that has hazardous materials that we have to worry about? Do they know what the rules and regulations are for some of the things? Is it appropriate for the zoning in town? If it isn't appropriate for the zoning, it doesn't mean no. It just simply means you need to go see the planning commission. But now the planning commission is not having to see each and every person that comes into town.
So it reduces administrative burden.
It does. It reduces not only just administrative burden, it also helps fast track businesses to get what they want. And also, the biggest complaint that I have heard is that folks come in, they try to do something, then they learn after they have invested or thought about it and done things that they've done something wrong, or they haven't done the next step, or there was something missing in the process. This would help catch that right up front, so that we wouldn't have those kind of issues going forward.
Like we had about a year and a half ago.
I've had 3 of them so far.
Ooh, okay.
That was the biggest one.
Yeah.
But it encourages people. Again, that's the reason why I say a very low fee, if anything, is because you want to encourage people to do it. If you start charging lots of money, you might start getting an underground economy, and then it defeats what you're really trying to do, which is to help businesses and navigate the increasingly complex rules that we have to abide by, many not of our own, imposed upon us, like the DEQ.
I agree with that recommendation. I think that the business fee, the registration fee should not be prohibitive in any way for anyone, especially given the demographic of Monroe and the whole intent of trying to generate business and encourage people to do that.
So I would agree. I mean, a business registration is fine. I don't think we should charge anything for it.
Okay, so what I will do then,
Do we all agree
and
with
I'm
that?
just asking
I
for
agree.
direction.
I agree.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll take the best of what we have here, plus the things such as the DEQ information that I have. Also with the idea of the planning commission and what the planning commission has discussed, and put that together. So it becomes more of what we call a type 1 decision, which is an administrative decision rather than
Right.
having to burden the council and or the planning commission with it. Now, again, if it comes in and they say, I want to do this, and it's like, well, you're not zoned for that, but you could do a conditional use or something else, then I'm not going to stop them. I'm just going to simply say, okay, here's the next step.
You'll educate them
I'll
on the
give
next step.
pull
Yeah.
something out of the packet and say, here's the next step for you
Right.
to go and make sure that this happens. I think it's a great idea, and help them with it, so that they don't feel like we're just telling them no. Help them achieve what they want to, but make sure that it has the oversight that the city has requested.
Okay.
How do you police it, or how do you?
Well, certainly, you're not going to be 100%. I mean, I think the easiest thing to do is to be sure that, for instance, exempt home-based businesses. I think that's one thing, or exempt classes of home-based businesses that are not going to be, if someone wants to set up a thing selling reselling eBay stuff and set up a business, is that something that the city really wants to know about? But if you're setting up something that processes food, like a food cart, for instance, or something else that does that, yeah, I think the city does want that. So in the small town, we kind of know who's in business and doing those things. I do know that there's folks that have home-based businesses, but those are not necessarily what we're after, unless they get to a point where their home-based business is, they put signage out that may not be, that's our ordinance says, no, you cannot put a blinking billboard up on the top end of Commercial Street. Or
Yeah, has to
strobe
be,
lights, or,
has to be attached to your, it's like,
right, or you
2
have
square
a
feet.
whole bunch of cars. I
Yeah.
mean, you have 20 cars in front of your establishment. Again, a small town, we see that. I mean, that's going to be something that's going to be noticed right away by city staff and everyone else in town too. I mean, we will hear about it before we even get out the door in our car to see it. So that's how the enforcement is at this point. If we get to be size of Portland, or once again, the 5th largest city in Oregon, which we once were at one time, then yeah. But I would also assume that we'd have at that point, code enforcement officials and all sorts of other people that would be doing that. That's just how government bureaucracy works. At this point, it's nothing more than really to make, it's part of that first stop permitting to help people when they come to town, know what the lay of the land is, know what they need to do. They get their packet, we talk to them, and they can get going making money or developing or what that is within the context of what the city wants them to do, without having to go through months of waiting. Because that's what's happening now.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I agree.
Then I will come back. What I will do is I will work on this and present at a work session, a more detail before it gets to an ordinance. And then the ordinance will be like a first reading, second reading type of thing. So this is not like we're pushing it immediately on anybody. Wanted to give everyone an opportunity to read and understand it.
And if we did pass it, when it would it be effective?
I would say at this point, the earliest it would be effective would be February 1st.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions before we move on? Okay. The next item here on the agenda is attorney update on the DEQ regulatory issues.
Lori is still reviewing all the documentation I gave her. Her suggestion to me at this point is to take some of the material that we have identified, bring it back to Courtney Brown, who's the compliance officer, and negotiate. However, at this point, she is still reviewing it.
Okay.
There is a lot of material and a lot of timelines and date lines and some misinformation in their queue that we're hoping to resolve. So, but that's where we're at the moment.
Negotiate with DEQ. This should be fun. Oh, man.
These folks that, Courtney Brown's an attorney. And so, it's not that I'm necessarily bullied by attorneys, but Lori does have our back. So it will not just be me. We're trying to come up with a strategy right now to eliminate this altogether.
Okay. Well, keep us posted.
So,
Okay. I guess we'll move on to the next item here. City Hall protocol for managing difficult situations.
so this last week, we had a very difficult situation. Some of you may have seen it on Facebook.
I don't look at Facebook.
Well, we had a local, I don't either, but I do have staff that do and keep me well informed, which is probably a good thing.
Sure.
I've been doing some research in this, and interestingly enough, there is a huge amount of scholarly research on crisis and how social media affects that. So this is called the paracrisis, and a guy named Timothy Coombs coined this term. But normally what you would have in a crisis planning, or you would have a pre-crisis plan, which essentially is, how am I going, this happens, what am I going to do? How is the leadership team going to work with it? Well, before social media, we had a chance to sit down everyone had a chance to sit down behind closed doors and work it out in a non-public manner. A paracrisis is para meaning something that resembles a crisis. So the problem is that, is it really something bad? Or is it something that is just someone reacted and everyone else is going to,
Right.
is it just going to roll over? So do you instantly come out with something, or do you not? Or how do you manage that? So, and sometimes a paracrisis ends up physical and not necessarily online anymore. So it manifests in itself by someone actually coming and confronting you personally rather than just online.
Is that the instance in this case?
And that's the instance in this case. So what occurred is our staff were out, may have noticed we working on the storm drains out here by Dairy Mart, and there's one identical to it across the street by the Christmas Junction area. They both sunken, they're both in disrepair, and we have H&J coming out to repair them, to actually pull them out, put new things in so that the grates are now level with the street and are working again. Staff cleaned out the one at Dairy Mart and also the one across the way. They have been crumbling. We did have them cleaned, but they actually took parts and pieces out to find where the pipes, and there's a lot of storm drain pipes coming into these things that we don't know, actually. And this is a problem for us. From a regulatory viewpoint, we need to know what's going to those storm drains. So what they did was they went to every single home and business around that area, identifying the storm drains, making sure they're coming down from downspouts and that type of thing, and trying to figure out where they're coming in. One of the things is we don't want to come in and have H&J come in, repair it, block off a pipe that now backs up into someone's area and
Right.
causes more damage. So this is a huge infrastructure issue for us. So our public works staff went behind the Christmas Junction building and identified the storm drain that went to that. This was caught on video. They were there for about 20 seconds. It's clear that they were pointing at the storm drain material and then left once they identified what it was. They were not searching, they were not looking, and that's very clear from the video. However, it got posted with the idea that we were violating Fourth Amendment government search, that type of thing, which isn't accurate. It's no less accurate than the fire department or the police or someone else doing that. The government has, for a legitimate reason, has the obligation, if it's part of their infrastructure, to manage it. In this instance, the owner was not in her shop and not home. The next day, this individual showed up in City Hall and was up. And at that point, Dawn actually called me on her cell phone. And so I had, through a cell phone, talking to this individual who did not let me say anything at all, was very angry, loud, overtalked me at every single point. My staff had actually asked her to leave, and she did not, she refused to leave. So that's the point of, then we had a meeting the next day, and I clarified what my expectations are. Number one, folks do have a right to come into City Hall and ask questions. Absolutely. They have a right to get information. Absolutely. But they must do so in a civil manner, period. They cannot be abusive. In this instance, this individual was abusive by my staff's viewpoint and by mine, having listening to it. So going forward, if someone comes into the office and is in that tone, is over talking, is trying to demean a staff person, they are to ask them to leave. And if they do not, they will call 911. If I'm there, I will, of course, be there. And I will, because I do have the authority as city administrator, this is one of those cases to trespass somebody. If not, I will have law enforcement trespass them.
I'm sorry you and your staff experienced that, Steve. That's not fair.
It wasn't fair to the two individuals that were up front. That is certainly the case. Councilor Cuthbertson.
I don't disagree with that. I think that things need to be civil. My question would be, when this originally happened, even though they were working on things and whatnot in the area, were they crossing into a closed area? Were they in an alley? Where exactly were they at when this happened? And did they try to contact the people in the business or anyone to let them know what they were doing?
There was no one home at the time, and they felt that there was an urgency to deal with it.
But they were,
I am not going to stop my staff counselor from doing their job.
And
I understand
I'm
what you're
just
saying.
trying to understand the situation better. I just will not have this conversation, apparently. I apologize for saying anything.
There's no reason to
No,
apologize,
No,
but
no, I'm done. I'm done with it. I just wanted to know. It can get heated on both sides, but I was just asking a simple question of what happened. Trying to figure out a neighborly way to maybe work with people so that they don't get upset, but apparently I'm good.
well, city staff do cross on people's property all the time to do meter reads and all sorts of other things. And this is no different than the fire department. This is no different than the police. Zero difference. Now, if you believe there is, and you'd like to make a resolution or an ordinance or a policy that says that city staff must do this, that, and the other, then that is certainly council's, but I won't. So that's your prerogative. And city staff should not have to be constrained because we're under regulations. And the DEQ is going to be answering questions too, just as they are now. We're under a lot of microscopes right now.
Okay, well. Any other questions for Steve? Comments on the situation? We can definitely talk about this later.
I mean, you know, in my business, I work in regulatory, and we have crisis management plans. That's the expectation of all the sites that I go to. And it sounds like that's what you're trying to implement, but the only caveat being is if our city hall personnel are uncomfortable, then they have the right to call you and you have the right to call. I think there needs to be a more robust plan.
And
I
that's
think
what we're
perhaps
establishing.
maybe
right.
even like some public relations. I think we're at that point now where we need to kind of have a designated person that's responsible for some of the PR things that are happening on social media and kind of directing that and maybe being the voice for the city of Monroe.
Well, the people that make recommendations for this say that number one, when things do come up, you should be quick and decisive on your response.
Mhm.
Sitting back does not help you any.
Right.
Providing factual information quickly and immediately is what is needed to help defray the situation up front. I understand, and I think all of us do, that sometimes the attorney might get involved, but by the same token, most of the crises that occur because of social media occur because people sat back and said, maybe the attorney would say otherwise. And so they don't say anything. And as a result, it allows other people to fill in the blanks. And that's where things begin to get out of control.
Agreed. Agreed. I just don't know. I mean, dealing with the public takes it's nuanced, right? And especially when people are not level-headed all of the time. And that must be a very difficult position to be in. I can only imagine.
It is. And so the other recommendation is that, and we have this in our council rules, is always speak with one voice. So the one voice is that, you know, and to your point, you know, is there a designated individual to make sure that that one voice
Mhm.
that represents the city of Monroe is out there saying, you know what? And I know the mayor on 2 occasions at least has provided factual information that basically shut the
Definitely.
conversation down. I
Absolutely.
mean, right then and there.
Okay.
Because it was factual information and the individuals didn't have a leg to stand on with it.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. Absolutely. It's unfortunate. And I think that it went onto social media and became something that it didn't need to be. But I also think that the property owner or the business owner has, I mean, she's got some skin in the game too. I mean, I think I would be a little bit shocked. It's disappointing that she went to social media instead of just going through the proper channels, but it is what it is. And so we have,
She could have called me.
she could have, but we could have also reached out to her. I do see both sides.
Well, this happened late in the afternoon and the media post came in that evening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, it was not as though this happened early in the day or the day before or something else. Staff, when they do have to do something, if it's not urgent, they will ask. They'll say,
Mhm.
hey, you know, I'm here because we see some water that we don't understand where it's coming from, we need to go look at it.
And I totally understand their point of view. I get it, but I just, because it's on social media and the context, it doesn't bode well for the city, right? It never will bode well for the city. And
I understand the one conversation was that Chuck kind of does look like Santa Claus.
yeah, right. Well,
It could have been a much more interesting, and we actually had a Santa hat, and he does, with the Santa hat, he does indeed look like Santa Claus.
So I do have one question.
Yes.
So do our Public Works folks, do they have like safety vests or anything with the city logo or?
We're wearing hats with the city logo on. However, we are in the process of getting identification cards. We are required to have.
or what about some high vis gear that says City of Monroe or something?
We have the high vis equipment that were, one of them is stenciled in the back, one is not. But we are required, if we go out to do meters, we have to have my name, my picture, and it has to say, this is what I'm doing.
Mhm. Okay,
And so those are being ordered right now.
Okay.
okay, okay.
I wonder, Steve, I feel like you were the ones owed an apology by the business owner, but I also can't help but think that she probably feels that she is also owed an apology because she feels that her property was violated or whatever, even if it was necessary and there wasn't a whole lot of time to knock on doors and figure things out. Like, has any communication happened since that Facebook post? Like any communication directly with her?
Yes, I spoke with her that morning and she didn't listen to me. She completely overspoke me. She was angry. She was rude. In the end, I simply told her to go contact her attorney. I have no choice. Yes, I did attempt to speak with her. My staff put me in contact with her.
Okay.
And she had an opportunity to speak with me in a calm, rational manner, and she did not.
Yeah, I believe that, and I'm not trying to diminish that in any way. It sounds like maybe from her perspective, yeah, I don't know. I think that maybe we could go back and say, hi, we're sorry that you weren't aware of this, but this is something that we needed to do and it was urgent and timely. You know, maybe now that the dust is settled and she's not in your face screaming and talking over you, maybe now would be an okay time to just try to patch
It
things
might
along.
be, and you know, at 67 and a half years old and having had done as much as I've done, I'm not doing it in this instance. I'm
Okay.
sorry. If someone from council wishes to do so on behalf, but I will not. I will not be treated that way by anybody.
Right.
I don't
Or
think
is
that I
any-
should.
Well, I don't
If
think you
council
should be
feels
either.
differently, fine, please, by all means.
But are we allowed to, or are we supposed to speak with one unified voice? Like, are any of us allowed to go and?
If
speak
you
with her?
should do that, counselor, I would feel that I would need to resign immediately from this job.
Okay,
That's how strongly I feel about it.
okay. All right.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry to say that. I know that is very positional, and you know from the amount of time that this council has had with me, that this is not a typical reaction. But
Yeah.
I was treated very, very badly. I was treated rudely. I was humiliated, and so were my staff.
Mm.
So this individual should be coming to council and apologizing to the city, not the other
Okay.
way around.
Got it. All right. Again, I'm sorry that you and your staff experienced that. It's crappy.
I am too.
As am I.
As you can
That's-
see, I have a very strong reaction to it, and I completely support my staff on
Yeah.
this.
As you should.
Mhm.
Our apologies, Steve.
Yes.
Well, I will pass that on to staff.
Well, and I'll be in tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
And sorry, one other thing, just to be clear, I don't think that you need, or anybody needs to apologize to her about being upset. I was just thinking maybe she would have appreciated understanding the process of why we were on her property. I don't think any apology is owed beyond that at all. Just wanted to explain that your feelings are valid. You have nothing to apologize for as far as her upsetness goes. That is entirely hers to control. The way she reacts to what happens to her is her business. And unfortunately,
Well,
it impacted you negatively.
in that line, for our insert this month, we could certainly put in there something to the effect of that city staff are from time to time going to need to be on your property. If at all possible, we will contact you, but please understand that there are things that we have to investigate and do that are time sensitive, and let you know after the fact that we were there if that's the case. That would have happened in this instance, but we were not given an opportunity to.
Absolutely.
So I don't think that that is on city's onus to do that. We normally do that. We are on people's property frequently,
Yeah.
but we also let people know what we're up to if there's an opportunity to. And also after the fact, because oftentimes we have to come back and explain that there's a problem or an issue that we have to work with.
Yeah. I like your idea, your suggestion of putting something in the next newsletter, just, hey, heads up, we need to access property sometimes. And, you know, I think the way you phrased it is nice.
That I think would be appropriate. And then if someone has some real issues with it, I would encourage them to come to council and talk to council about it.
It sounds good.
Yep,
Thank you,
that's
Steve.
fine. Fair enough. Okay, we're gonna move on, guys. The last item, I think it's the last new business item here, rescheduling the December city council meeting. So we got the holidays. We've been through this before. So it looks like the fourth Monday of the month lands on the 23rd. I won't be here, so we're talking about potentially having the city council meeting on the 16th instead. So I wanted to see how everybody felt about that. If everybody was going to be around.
I'm checking.
Okay.
I will be. What do you know?
So you're saying move it from the 16th to another day or moving it to the 16th?
Moving it to the 16th.
Works for me.
Okay.
I'd prefer that to the 30th.
Yeah. I won't be here the 30th either.
Oh,
so.
okay, cool.
So easy enough. Is it okay for everybody else?
Mhm.
And then we would do
digging through
the,
my schedule.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
and we would do the, work session on the 9th still, or
Yeah, that would be correct.
on the 9th.
Yeah, I would assume we would still do the work session on the 9th.
Okay.
And planning commission, I assume, is on the 2nd. So
Yes, it is. Yeah, we have
chock full of fun every Monday.
land use, we have two land use hearings and staff reports. And we also have a business review,
Okay.
hopefully.
Quite a bit going on for
Yeah,
that
we
planning
do.
commission
Actually,
meeting.
we have quite a bit going on.
Okay. All right. Counselor Winther.
16th should work for me.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So we'll go ahead. Do we need to vote on that, Steve, or just we've all agreed?
The mayor in this case can
Set the
Can do that.
meetings.
No, I'm gonna go, well, everyone agrees that we can move it. So let's go ahead and move it from the next city council meeting, which would have been originally scheduled for December 23rd, 2024 to December 16th, 2024. There's that. Very good. Okay, so we're moving on now to old business. So section 6 of the agenda. So Councilor Linder, could you give us a library negotiations committee update for us?
Yeah, yep. So on November 18th, the ad hoc library committee met, and so far it's trucking along. I'll say there are some things that the SBCEA is working on their end. And then Steve is also working on some finance pieces, but the SBCEA is pursuing an IGA and funding. Corvallis produced a draft for the SBCEA that would essentially transfer Monroe property from us to them. I'm kind of loosely paraphrasing, but that draft is really similar to the LC draft, or the LC agreement that they have with the city of Corvallis. And Mr. Irvin with the SBCEA wants to take that, or needs to take that to the SBCEA board. He also wants to meet with LC to hear about what they think, if they've had any issues with that contract, the way it's been written. And we did also discuss the possibility of extending the IGA to ensure a transition, and everybody, including the mayor, Councilor Cuthbertson, myself, and Steve all support extending if needed to make sure that the SBCA is eventually able to take full ownership in partnership with Corvallis. So the SBCEA has their next meeting on December 11th, which should be enough time for them to discuss with the city of Alsea. Maybe negotiate a bit more with Corvallis. That'll be between them. And then there have been some other small pieces that have come up. We've talked about continuing to provide mowing services for the property. There's a conversation about water and sewer provision, definitely, like indefinitely. The SBCA has offered to possibly repair the irrigation system, which needs it, but there are a lot of pieces that are kind of in negotiation still. But yeah, I would say everything is moving forward positively. We're just kind of going through the steps, and a lot of things can't move to the next step until until one committee reviews something, and then the next person needs to, it's everything has to happen in a certain order. So we're kind of just shuffling from one piece to the next as we can, and as meetings come up on everyone's calendars.
Thank you, Councilor Lindler, for that update. I have a quick question.
Yeah.
With the proposed or the potential extension of the IGA, what time frame are we looking at? I'm not in favor of that, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, so I mean, the extension would probably be a month, 2 months. It just depends on how long it takes the SBCEA and Corvallis to finish their agreement. We just don't want to have any gap in service, basically janitorial service or electricity, library service for the city. And it's really just more of a bureaucratic, just kind of like a waiting period, like a margin of error, I guess. Or
Like it was when we were trying to figure that out. That's where my problem is.
Hmm.
right, yeah, and that came up for us too. And I asked the same thing, like how long is this going to get kicked down the road?
Right.
Finalized. And Roger Irvin said that he is working actively to take this under the ownership of the SBCA.
I'd highly recommend that they keep that is on their radar, because I'm not a fan of extending the IGA.
Okay, thank you. We'll be talking about this at the next work session too.
I'll just add that Roger wanted us to still continue the utilities.
Yep, I'm, again, my position on that.
Well, water and sewer, I think, is one thing. Electricity, I have an issue with, so.
Mhm.
And I would suggest, so I ran the numbers on the water, and they use about 1,200 gallons of water a month, except during irrigation season, where it bumps up anywhere to 20-some thousand gallons. Now, part of that's because of a broken irrigation system, but part of that is because irrigation systems use water.
Yeah, they do.
So
Yeah, they work.
my thought with that is that if the city wishes to have, 1,200 gallons is just 200 over our minimums. But basically, one thing that could be considered by council is a credit of 1,200 gallons, for instance, and anything over that, you pay for, you'll be billed. So
That sounds
1,000
reasonable.
gallons, just say anything over our minimum, because the 1,200 gallons runs, I mean, if I cut them back into the winter months, it would be under 1,000 gallons, and they wouldn't be charged under our system for very much for usage. But then, of course, we have the CIP fees and these other things that we have too, base fees. I mean,
Yeah.
part of the reason why we did this was to make sure we had some sort of cost share
Mhm.
in this process. So
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah, and the provision of utilities was not, I don't want to say fully supported, but it was suggested by one member of the committee, and everybody else in the committee is mulling it over, but also not, there's a lot to be discussed there.
Steve, do you recall on average, what the electric bill is for the library per month?
$461 a month.
Okay.
And of course, that varies from summer to
Right. Okay.
winter, depending on temperatures and all that. But this last year, it averaged it out to about $461 a month.
Okay.
So their average bill would be I'm sorry, Counselor, did you want to?
No, go ahead. No, you're fine.
I was just going to say their average bill would be $98 a month for the water, sewer, all of that. for all but 4 months out of the year.
Yeah, so my understanding is the SBCEA is meeting on the 11th. We will all be meeting on the 9th, so a couple days before that. We're not having a city council session. Well, I guess we're having city council on the 16th, but hopefully we'll have more or something to even vote on, or at least a draft MOU or something to review, but it might be a little bit early. So it's to your question, Councilor Williams, we might not even have anything to review before December 31st. And then by default, it might have to be extended by a month, just because it depends on where things sit with Corvallis.
Understood. Not ideal from my perspective, but understood.
Not ideal for mine either. And that was a concern that we had when we met a couple weeks ago.
Thank you.
Because one of the other things was they asked about the city mowing until the end of the fiscal year.
And that would be May and June
Mhm.
to mow their lawns. And that's really not, as I explained at the meeting, that's not a big commitment on our part. That's something that happens in about 30 minutes in the morning, a couple times a week.
Mhm.
And that's just our biggest is the park,
Mhm.
other areas around town
Right.
that things literally grow like, well, weeds.
Mhm.
And folks are watching us because if we're asking them to keep their weeds down, they would see the city
Right.
do the same thing. So
Yeah.
the library, however, is with a lawnmower, and it's pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
There was one other question about the insurance policy, and Steve shared that Corvallis has the same insurance company that we use. So
Mhm.
there's a possibility that we could transfer their policy to Corvallis pretty easily
That-
before the end of June of next year.
The individual that I'm working with, they changed Katie Durfee, who's been our longtime representative, has taken a bigger position. And the nice lady who has taken her place is doing the research for us and finding out what we can do. I also let Roger know that Pacific Hometown Insurance out of Junction City is actually the ones that underwrite the policies. So Roger is going to be talking with them as well. So,
Great.
I mean, at this point, we prepaid it. So the question I have is, if they aren't going to, do we get a refund on that
Right.
amount for what's not? That's always,
Mhm.
that's the first question.
Mhm.
Second question is, if we do get a refund, is that something then the council would consider helping them with? Because I'm certain that their insurance is not going to be, in their pool will not be as good as ours. So I'm not, that particular part of it was not brought up in the discussion, but I am bringing it up just for council thought, because I'm sure at some point that will be brought up.
Right. And when you say not as good, you mean because we are a government, we get government rates and deals and services?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So we're pooled with all the similar size and non-similar size cities that city county insurance insures throughout Oregon. So we're placed in that pool. And so the rates are advantageous to us.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, then
So-
I think the final piece was janitorial until the end of the fiscal year as well.
Right, and we offered that up front. The question will be how much we need in terms of monthly cash. Because if we get this modular unit in place, and I will have kind of the final package for you. I should have the drawings and the
Nice.
visualizations and the full things, the Sourcewell contract with the state, all of that to you. I was hoping for it today, but apparently it's going to be after Thanksgiving. But at least by the 9th, so that you have a chance, the council has a chance to review it.
Thank you, Steve.
But we certainly will have, we will have electricity costs with that. We'll have reduced costs across the way because we just mothball it. Make sure that it's, at a temperature that things do not freeze or mold or rot, but still
Mhm.
it'll be less, but we will still be paying now on a heat pump system on the new modular. So
Very nice.
want to make sure that the monies that we need to spend on that, we're not having to dip into contingency.
Awesome. Any questions about the ad hoc library committee meeting, the last one that happened, or anything else that I can bring back to the next meeting.
No.
No, but thank you for doing what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Thank
Pleasure.
you very much.
Thank you,
Yep, thank
Counselor.
you.
Yeah, Counselor Linder's doing a great job.
Yes, she is.
Thank you.
I think we pretty much have covered
Yes.
6.2, so more to come on the City Hall modular situation.
Every day I get, I'm actively working with
Mhm.
them to get this design. We wanted to make sure we had an area for the deputies for the
Right.
City Hall.
Right.
I hate to say it, Mr. Mayor, but there's actually a mayor's office.
Yeah, well, that would be nice. Nice to have a place to actually sit down, and have a meeting
Would
with
be good
somebody.
Yeah, for anybody
And a
to
break
use for
room.
meetings or whatever.
Yes.
Private, more
A
private.
private, and there'll be two main offices and then a break room. We don't have a break room.
Right,
now,
that's good.
so
There's gonna be a break room finally.
Really
Yeah.
have a real break
Yeah.
room, so that's kind of a requirement that staff don't eat at their desks, so.
Yeah.
They won't have to
That would
do
be
that.
good. Okay, the next item is property development and planning updates.
So as of this morning, I have a preliminary plan for the property that we know as the Kathy Loving property.
Okay,
26 unit subdivision, about 5,500 square foot lots.
Now, where is this at exactly?
This is between Oak Street and Mill Street. It's that big, huge field that gets mowed
Oh.
you gets baled once a year.
Okay.
By the mayor's house.
Okay,
So 26 units there, and they're gonna keep the front area commercial. So that front strip is commercial,
okay.
and then there's 26 homes behind that. Interestingly enough, there's exactly 26 homes now for the Surge's property, and I'm actively now working with Surge. And counting my fingers. That was, my grandfather was Ukrainian and fought in the Russian Civil War. He was a man of very few words, and his only last words were, "If you shake hands with a Russian, count your fingers." So Serge is a wonderful individual, but we are now discussing with his engineers all the utilities, the roads, the easements, the sidewalks, the
okay.
improvements, and
Mhm.
the comment from that generated from the last time visited the city is we're holding them to what they originally promised the city.
They should have done it then. It was cheaper.
So if there's 52 units coming in, what does that do for utilities and water capacity?
So
I'm assuming these are new properties that'll probably have sprinkler systems and stuff like they did in Red Hills. And
we can accommodate 52 units. However, there's a possibility for 20 more.
Mhm.
So at that point, we're looking at 75, we'll just round it up, homes. Our water plant needs a new module for that.
Mhm.
At what point does it need a new module? Now?
Yeah, as soon as in this next few days, I'm going to start getting commitments for these
Okay.
properties.
Mhm.
So I am now going to talk with our project here, although we know we have sedimentation and that type of thing. Our water plant actually can handle 3 modules, 3 units, and I think it's probably time to put those online. We still can't pull more than 350 gallons a minute.
Right.
From that.
additional module could be done with SDC funds if it's
Yes, it could
specifically for
be.
capacity.
Yes, it could be.
What about sewer though? How does
Sewer,
sewer bode with 75?
it would still work.
The
We're good up to,
the pipe is big enough. You don't need to go to a
at this
10
point
inch.
it is, as long as we're under 900.
Okay.
So right now, we're 703. We went down from 723 to 703, according to the Portland State University. That number just came out last Friday. I'm not going to change our signs. We'll still say 723. These are preliminary. These are the guesstimates that Portland State does on behalf of the state for all the cities each year. 900 people is about where we would have we would reach the theoretical limits, the design limits of our pond. So if you're looking at, say, what, 2.25
Yeah, I was gonna
times.
say 2.5 or 2 point, yeah, something. I
So
mean,
you're right about at
150,
that
175 additional people.
people. So
You're
you're,
basically at
you're still
900.
just below the 900. So from a sewer viewpoint, we're fine. From a water viewpoint, the question will be, right now, if I have to run the plant 7 hours a day, okay, what will that additional do? I went from 5.5 to 7 hours. So that was an additional hour and a half for the Red Hills. Okay, so if I add another hour and a half, I'm now at the 8 to 9 hour point,
Mhm.
which means that we're going to, with existing staff, we would have.
Summer,
Right, we'll have to
because
split
that's
them.
when you need more water because
We
everyone's
do.
watering.
And so what will happen is and in the winter times, right, and in the winter time, the water is colder, so we cannot process as much. So
Okay.
in the very cold and the
But you
very
don't have
hot.
to make as much at least.
No,
because
we
of
don't
the,
have to make as much. It just takes longer to
Yeah.
produce it.
Process it, yeah.
So really what it boils down to is beginning to have split time with your city staff. So someone, for instance, would come in early in the morning and someone might pick up later in the day
Mhm.
with it to run the plant to what we need to. At one point, and I'm going to say this was the summer that we had all the forest fires, I did come in like at 4 a.m. and ran the plant to about noon, shut it down, and then came back and ran it from 6 to 10 in the evening.
Mhm.
And when it was cooler. And that did give us the capacity that we needed without making things, too onerous to deal with it. Because in the evening, you can always open the doors and air things out, even if it is hot, and watch a baseball game. So it's not bad. But those are the kinds of things we'd have to think about. It's just not a normal, I'm going to show up at 8 o'clock, turn the water
Mhm.
plant on, go do my other things. The routine will have to change in order to accommodate.
And the pond capacity is fine.
Is fine. This,
I know we have to dredge at some point in the next year or two or something.
no, actually,
not bad.
the sludge report came back okay.
Oh,
What
okay.
they're suggesting is we put what they call a head-end screen in to
Mhm,
keep the solids out
mhm.
from even going over there to begin with. So that would fit in on the lift station down here, basically what it does.
Then you get to clean the solids out.
Yeah, it actually takes it out, augers it out, compacts it into bales, and then you have to dispose of it. I know
Fun
this is fun.
times. Talking about number 2 stuff.
Yeah. I don't need to know
Fun
how all the
times
sausage is
tonight,
made.
boy.
Details what's in there, but I'm sure you.
I can use my imagination. Thank you.
Yes, it is. I will say that there's a lot of different hygiene products that are in there.
Few like random smaller things too. So I mean, that 900 number is really close, I think.
It is at this point.
If
it
you're
would
talking
come
about
to the-
70 units, because you add 4 multifamily over here and you add a,
So what would happen is that we would go from a non-aerated facultative lagoon, which is what we have now, to an aerated.
so you would just have to put the sprinklers
We
and
would
stuff
put
on the.
little
Mhm.
fountains out there
Bubblers.
and the birdies, and that would be on the number 1 pond.
Mhm.
We'd probably put a couple on the number 2 pond and leave the number 3. That's the 7-acre, what we call the finishing pond. It's actually it's actually in very good shape. So,
Okay.
but that would be the next step. So as soon as we get that,
People, so, or a lot of
SDCs.
houses, so that's why.
all those SDCs would then go as we
Mhm.
wanted to go put that into the lagoons and make them better.
For the Kathy Loving property, what's the timeline on them starting that project?
They would like to start next year.
Seriously?
I've got,
Really?
this means
Oh.
we've got three major projects. With the exception of the Red Hills, the one east of Red Hills.
Santiam paving or whatever.
Paving, yeah.
Paving,
Yeah.
but they had, what their plan, at this particular point in time is to put about 20 homes in there. So, and that's all they can really do with the wetlands that are in there. It's kind of an imaginative, the things will be a little more spaced out
Mhm.
in there, so it won't seem like there's a lot of, it won't be as high density as Red Hills is. It'll be a little lower density because they don't have a choice. They will put a path in there to connect Red Hills across to the school.
That'll be
Okay.
nice.
Oh,
There's an
and-
easement for a road that goes in there.
And then also the land swap, what's the progress on that? Cause,
And so
because the stone property would be another thing too.
Yes,
and-
it would
and That
be.
adds additional.
it would be, and we actually have the Stones online with us. So right now, we're in the process, I am talking with DC. This was the last update with doing what's called a fast track on this, which allows the city to move up to 50 acres, actually, inside the UGB without going through all the formal processes. However, having said that, you still have to point out and justify through your comp plan that this is what we would want to do.
Mhm.
So at this point, if this property, the Loving property, as I'll call it, I think that's Brownstone Development, Randy Myers is doing this.
Hmm.
So we have GRB that's basically in the pit. That's the old
Hmm.
borrow pit for the
Where they dug the clay.
dug
Yeah.
the clay. They filled some of it in, but it's still about 14 feet deep in the middle. Big depression. Be a great amphitheater. But that was zone GRB, medium density, back in the 2015-16 timeframe, Mr. Menard. Basically, what we would ask is, and the Loving property is light industrial. So the idea at this point to keep it even is to swap the two.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Put the GRB where they want it to be and take the light industrial and put it there. So now you basically have your industrial park
Mhm.
at the edge of town. Okay, so, which is a great place for it. So that's how that would work. The 50 acres or at least 20, if not more, over in this area on the north end of town could then be developed using the fast track. Now, clearly at this point, we go from, we could go easily from the 70 homes, we could at that point get up to 100 homes.
Yeah.
In Monroe over
Yeah.
the next couple of years. At that point, we definitely are having to we need that head end screen, which is identified in our wastewater master
Mhm.
plan. We absolutely have to have a third unit online at the water plant.
Mhm.
And
Aeration on the pond.
and aeration on the ponds and probably an additional staff person.
Yeah.
So that we have enough
Time to
time,
make the water.
shifts to
Mhm,
do it, like a lot of cities do.
mhm.
Yeah.
And we're not unusual. We just would be joining
Mhm.
the cities with higher population.
With the third thing, we should be able to process more water.
We would be able to run the plant longer without, so we could always have a cell. We could run 2 cells simultaneously with the third cell in reserve and then rotate the cells.
Okay.
Because that's really what we're doing. We still cannot draw more than 350 gallons a minute out of the water, but we can run the plant 24/7 and run 350 gallons a minute.
Okay.
So it's just basically just adding time is what we're doing.
Got it.
Feels like a lot of growth very quick with a lot of,
It does, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
of course, a lot of it is going to, we have Counselor Linder has her hand up. I'm sorry, Counselor, go ahead.
It's fine. I was actually gonna say the same thing that Counselor Winter said. It feels rapid. And it makes me have some apprehensive feelings a bit. I understand that, growth is inevitable anywhere we live in this world, but I just hope that we're being really careful and strategic and not saying yes to every single developer that approaches the city just because they have the funds and the tools and the know-how. I just hope that we're being careful, The other thing I wanted to say is, I think when I zoom in, it gets a little bit tricky to hear people when there's interrupting going. I just wanted to kindly suggest that we try to not interrupt each other as often, because then things get kind of jarbled on the other end. And I wish I could be there in person tonight, but I could not be. So just wanted to say those 2 things. Thank you.
Thank you.
It does help with minutes too.
Good call.
May I ask a quick question? So which
Yeah.
of the 2 properties that are looking at like starting first, the development?
At this point,
Is it-
Surge's property, the Pacific National Development that's
Okay.
between 8th and Ash.
Yeah. I
Is
just know
at
it by
Harrington
Surge's
Ted.
name. I
Yes,
didn't want
Surge.
to, okay.
Right.
Have all these different AKA this and AKA that.
Yeah.
Pacific National Development is first
Okay.
in this. I will also say that Kelly Street the 4-unit apartment
Mhm.
complex on Kelly Street, and then
Right.
Mr. Oak's development by Depot Street are
Mhm.
probably in that because they're smaller and they could start next spring.
Right.
But right now, May is the starting date, is a date that has been set and put before the DEQ and everyone else monitoring their permits.
Okay.
That's the date that they've set to start. The brownstone development, I would assume, still needs to go through hoops on our side. We need to rezone. We need to deal with I'm dealing with them now on the preliminary infrastructure pieces. We have an 8-inch concrete pipe that dates back to, well, beginning of Monroe that goes basically a block down from the mayor's house.
Mhm.
And down there, we may be asking them, for instance, give an SDC credit for them to replace that with a PVC pipe, for instance.
Mhm.
So there's some things that they may need to do that it'll give them a little bit extra time
Mhm.
to do that. But on the other hand, that is a beautiful piece of property developed because you could put homes on there with very little
Mhm.
effort to do so. So that would go quickly. It would be the infrastructure that they would need to help us.
Okay, I
with.
see. Thank
Go
you.
ahead,
Is
Counselor.
that your mouse or is that Bob Stone raising his hand?
That's my.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry. There we go.
He's raising his hand at himself.
There we go. Sorry, it was my.
I was just
I'll
making
move-
sure I didn't
apologize.
know.
I'll move my mouse.
Sorry, go ahead.
So at that point, it would be kind of in the order of Pacific National Development, the Oak Street and Kelly Street projects, which is about 5 homes and a 4-unit multifamily unit. Then a toss-up between the brownstone development, which we'll call that the Loving property, and then probably the
Mhm.
last one would
Right.
be the one over by Red Hills.
Mhm.
And of course, that all is dependent upon mortgage rates. And we are still seeing fluctuations in that market. So I'm sure the people that are monitoring this are going to have to project what's going to happen 6 months from now.
No easy task.
And that's always interesting. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking about all the capacities and stuff. It's because it's for the same reasons that they're, it just sounded like a lot to add all at once. And then, we want to make sure that we're doing it sustainably so that,
Sustainability.
we're
is
not,
good.
we're not running into capacity issues for
Mhm.
staff or for,
Fortunately, we have 2 master plans that did take that into account.
and I know it does take time for them to get, it's not like they'll be 26 done all at once. Like
No.
Red Hills was over what, 2 or 3
Yeah,
years
it took
before
3
they,
years for them to find.
before they built the last one.
And we got the full impact of it, right?
Yeah.
So we will have some time. It'll be mostly making sure that we have staff available, a shifts of staff available to do that.
If we find we're unexpectedly at capacity, is there any way to put the brakes on the development?
Yes. And that has happened. There have been moratoriums on building because of capacity issues.
Yeah, because you don't want to put everyone else at risk that's already a citizen, just so you can add more and
Right.
make it to where they don't get access to those services.
That's the reason why that number 52 was floated. I came up with that number a couple years ago for just that reason. At what number could we add more homes without having to change our current staffing or anything else? And the number was about 52. And even over time, and with more experience, that number is still 52. So as we go beyond that, we start projecting, and right now I'm projecting we are going to be at 52 in the next couple of years, that's being actively
Right.
built. That trigger, at the moment you realize that's happening, now is the time to start that planning
Mhm.
process. Not wait, because it's going to happen. Monroe is just too attractive for that, and that's a good thing. But I also don't think we can probably we just don't have enough land. I mean, even with Stone property, you look at buildable land in Monroe and what our constraints are up against the EFUs and everything else. We can't grow huge. We have to then focus on business and, other
Right.
industry and things to balance the rest of that out.
Yeah, because we're not looking to expand the UGB or anything like that.
And
so-
I don't think the state of Oregon would let us beyond you know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
admitting, say, the stone property in, you know, that seems to be reasonable in their minds. And we do have some property just to the north of us here in town, but some of that's wetlands and it may not be feasible to do that. You get too far south, you know, now there are some folks you probably could expand out down south territorial
Yeah.
somewhat, but that's really about it.
Yeah.
You're
And there's a
looking-
few lots and stuff that either have, homes that need to come down and be rebuilt
Right,
or,
but-
or bare lots, but it's like,
One or two.
yeah,
Right.
there's not a ton.
Exactly. So we really are constrained geographically. So really to the south of us, maybe, that's the only non-EFU land. To the north is all EFU. So
Yeah.
we're not gonna have, the LCD is not gonna let us do much with that.
We don't need to.
And we don't need to. You're right.
Okay, any questions for Steve? Comments?
Thank you for the update.
You're welcome.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna have a bloody nose again.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's all right. We'll just cut through this really quick then. I'll just go through the events and then if there's any comments on committee reports, we'll just end it. So we've got our Monroe Community Food Drive that is going on right now and it's going on until the end of December. There's a container at Broadley Vineyards. City Hall is collecting. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. I don't know if Umpqua is yet, but stay tuned there. I'll get this on social media so that people know where to donate their food. And this is canned food. Then we've got the toy drive, which is going to start on December 2nd through the 16th. Dollar General is already accepting donations. They have a cart in the store. So if you buy a toy there, you can put in there and that will go to the food pantry and the Heritage Hall folks. Janice Cook and all. And then lastly, I wanted to mention, and all the counselors have this flyer. There's some by the door too. So we've got the light parade that's going to be happening on December 14th. Went ahead and put together the parade route on here. And then on the back are the stores and shops that will be open on the day of. So that's available. I'll put that online as well on social media. And then BAM has got a new shopping directory map guide out as well. That's got businesses that are part of BAM listed on the inside. And then there's the map on the outside.
Hey, it's me again. I have another comment / question.
Okay, go ahead.
I love the light parade and I'm so excited for my sister and fiance to see it for the first time, because neither of them have seen it. One of my best friends does a lot of travel between Corvallis and Eugene, and she didn't know that it was happening a year or two ago. And,
Mhm.
she did the big detour and she texted me and she's like, what is going on in Monroe? And I
Right.
said, oh, it's the Christmas light parade. It's really fun. You should check it out. And she's like, well, I'm in a hurry to get somewhere. What's happening? And yeah, I just wonder, do we communicate this with local communities also, like Corvallis and Eugene, or anybody else that?
Well, I know this is also coordinated with Junction City and Harrisburg as well, because the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce is involved as well. I will with the map here that you don't have it because you're online. I will be putting this like on social media in Corvallis and I can put it on social media in Eugene as well, just for
Awesome.
visibility purposes. And maybe there's people in those towns that want to come down here and see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm planning on doing that as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm,
I
you're
think
welcome.
anybody should come and check it out. It is so fun.
Yes, it is. Beyond that, we've got a committee report section here. I will just quickly, economic development, we're not going to meet until January. Finance and personnel, looks like we're meeting on the December 10th. Ordinance, we're meeting on December 4th. With parks, public works, we're in a to be determined state right now. We aren't going to have another library negotiations committee meeting yet. We're going to kind of see what happens after the work session on December 9th. And also with CBCAA and see where they're at as well. And December 9th is also our work session. So beyond that, our next city council meeting is December 16th. I don't have anything else unless anybody on the council has something they want to mention. No?
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, we're adjourned, folks. Thank you very much for being here.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Steve. Have a good night, everyone.